You mentioned earlier one of the competitions that you've recently been in is an EDGA competition. What can you tell us about them? And obviously, when you go to their competitions, how is it different?
So EDGA is the European Disabled Golf Association. So that's basically like a massive organisation within the European golf, and it's got, so basically you get like an EDGA pass. So it's free, you don't have to pay for it, and you become an EDGA player, and you can play in any event you want, whether that's abroad, in England, or wherever you live, and you can play with people with a disability, so that it's a much fairer field than your standard club comp or your national competition. For example, the English Disability Open, which is run by England Golf, but it's an EDGA event as well because you get world ranking points. So you've got either Stableford, Nets, Gross. For example, you've got Kit Poper, who was obviously on the European Tour the other month or so ago, with EDGA. So they provide European Tour opportunities for the top 8 ranked disability players. So obviously that's amazing because, you know, I think Kip wants to turn pro if he hasn't already, and he's got cerebral palsy in his bottom half, and he won the English Open with a disability. So, you know, it just shows that even though these players have got a disability, they can perform at this high level. And EDGA have done a massive job. And like you say, with the Rose Series, it's not as level with the men's side yet. Well, it never has been in any way, has it really? But with the Rose Series, obviously, they've provided the buggies. So the buggies have been provided. They've obviously got pads, and I think they've let us go off about half an hour before, and we're off the same tees as the pros as well. So it's literally the same level. You're getting the experience, and obviously. But no, I think EDGA have done a massive job in terms of that, and hopefully we'll just keep going forward with the criteria and getting inclusivity in golf.
Super. I noticed on Instagram you referenced the tees. How did you how did that impact performance? Because obviously I can imagine
it was
the distance, but I can imagine some holes, there's certainly some courses I've played where the position, the actual, the tee shot that you're playing can just be a totally different experience altogether.
Yeah, it was obviously a completely different thing. Like, I've never played off pros tees before, so it was a bit of a, I'd say, not a shock, but like, whoa, this is really hard, like far back. But no, it also helps you with course management because, as you said there, it's like you're thinking, oh, well, I would have played the shot of that tee, but here I've got to play something else. So it changes your mindset completely. And I think it also appreciates how good some of these players are on the actual tours.
Yes.
Because, you know, shooting like under par rounds is just phenomenal. And then the greens are completely different to club standard, like 14 on the stimp or something, which is ridiculously fast. But again, it's making it inclusive, and it's, you know, getting those people with a disability playing on that level and showing, yeah, we can play on the same tees as pros, we can play on the same course, and hopefully that will just keep on going next year.
Superb. I mean, one of the other things that we also wanted to talk about as well is because obviously disabled golf, it's polarized in terms of, you know, the full extent of the disability itself, but also what we wanted to try and emphasize the conversation towards was junior disabled golf as well. Obviously you've entered golf at a very early age, and well, obviously you're still so young considering the amazing work that you've done. So I suppose conquering disabled access is one thing, but what is then done to try and empower junior disabled golfers again to promote their involvement as well?
Yeah, obviously a lot of the disabled golf community is full of adults and people in their 20s or mid-20s. So, yeah, I think the person that I played with at the closest age is Heather Gilks, who's from Coventry, and I think she's a bit younger than me. No, she's similar. I think she's the same age. But, you know, that's the only person I've came across that's a similar age to me that plays in the EDGA community or with a disability. So I think in terms of getting the participation in with junior disabled golf is making it fun and making it encouraging, because golf can be, some juniors, if they're, you know, I use when I do the sessions a lot, I use this brand called Colour Path Golf, which is like, you've got a bag for the kit, which is all like rulers, alignment sticks, putting plates, mats, and all sorts. And it's basically full of different colours, so red, green, yellow, blue. And it really encourages the youngsters to get into golf, because they see this colour and you can make a lot of fun games out of it. So I think the main thing is you need to keep it fun. But the one thing that you shouldn't do, especially with like parents, is force them into it. Don't obviously force your kids into doing it if they don't want to, because if you should, like my dad says to other parents, to me anyway, it should be the kid wanting to go. Obviously, if they're not, if you're like, come on, let's go, come on, let's go, let's go, and they're like, I don't want to, I'm not interested, then there's no point keep forced, because it's just going to give them a bad, wrong representative of golf. But if the child's like, yeah, I really want to go and have a range session on Skytruck Bay, or just a general range, go to the range, then that's how it should be, and that shows then that they're wanting to do it.
Yeah.
We spoke with Andy Little a couple of weeks back now from Little Golfers, and Andy mentioned that when he first started out, there was a lot of funding for him to get involved with the schools, local schools, and he was going into these schools and he was teaching children about golf, getting them involved, lots of fun, lots of games. He also said that part of what he was doing was working with children with disabilities who, have never had access to golf before. All of a sudden, they're trying something new, they're engaging on whatever level their ability allows, but they're engaging with this sport, they're enjoying it, they're having fun. What he mentioned was that there was lots of funding around at the time that supported that. Do you think that there should be more golf in schools, more golf access to kind of specialist schools for disabled children? What's your take on the whole kind of primary age children within golf?
Yeah, I think, like you say, schools is a massive part of it, because, if they're introduced to it at school, then obviously, every child's got to go to school pretty much. So obviously, if they've got it provided to them and the people coming to them, then it's, it's not a choice as such. They're like being provided it straight away. So I think in terms of like funding, obviously if somebody wants to go and deliver a session and they can't quite afford the equipment, then obviously, like going back to like England Golf, whether they could provide a little bit of funding for them, but at least they're trying to make a difference and trying to show that to these youngsters. Also as well with the youngsters, if they've got their school friends with them, and people that they get along well with, and they can have a really good time and really good fun, then, like I said, if you're making enjoyment out of it, having fun games, they could have little games against their friends, because children can be very competitive. So I think just making it as fun as possible. But if you're delivering it to the school, then it's a massive opportunity for them to say to their parents when they go back, oh, Dad or Mom, I've just tried golf out today, I want to go and have a lesson. Yeah, and that's where the key bit is. That's where the key bit is. If you've got your child if you're delivering that session and you've got the child remembering that and going, oh yeah, I really enjoyed this, I want to go and give it a go, then that's how you're going to get it more.
Yeah, can I just say, sorry, our nephew is actually, he's got Down syndrome and he attends a special school. And the access that he's had, to kind of, it started off with like when he was younger, and he's 15 now. He had access to swimming. He's now at the age where he's trying kayaking. He was horse riding with his school. That wasn't something that at the time his parents thought that he would take an interest in, or that they had access to. It wasn't something that any of them had kind of had a background in. But by providing those opportunities to him amongst his friends who were also doing the same thing, he kind of flourished. It was I think it's really important when you put children in that kind of environment, that school environment, they're with the friends, they're more likely to try new things, they're more likely to engage with what's on offer.
They've got their friends to encourage them as well.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Yeah,
they go on their own and they've got no idea what that sport is or game is, then it's very unlikely that they're just going to turn up to a golf club and go, oh yeah, I want to give golf a go. They'll probably have no idea what it is at that age. So if they've got somebody coming into it, to the school, providing it, like you say, with their friends around them, it's just a whole different environment for them, and it's very likely for them to give it a go.
I think what's really interesting from this, I feel like I've got so many
he's
things.
Scribbling every time you say something. He's scribbling.
Because I think fundamentally what it comes down to is that it's the introduction in really early years. You know, regardless of ability, or even because I think what you've referenced earlier on is that your entry into golf was based on your father being interested in golf. Is that right? And when I think back to when I first started playing, there was only 4 channels on the TV, and my dad started showing an interest in it. No, but then I learned. But then I think that, you know, I look at Isaac now. Isaac's 8 years old, and I'm pretty confident that he's the only person in his school that plays golf. But I'm also very confident in saying that if golf was introduced in schools, there would be more than just one person that was interested in golf, because golf's got that very magical thing about it.